Your commentary team for this one. Alex Lely has made his way in alongside Phil Yates.
Tom, thank you. What an atmosphere here. The reception received by David Alcaide in particular was very loud. And there is no doubt whatsoever who the vast majority of this audience want to see win. So for Eklent Kaçi, it is into the lion's den.
Alcaide winning the break. He's the more experienced of the most experienced of the 4 semi-finalists. He's been in the final twice before, once many moons ago against Thomas Engert in Eklent Kaçi in Holland. And of course 2 years ago here in this arena, the winner over Jason Shaw. And boy, did he produce form earlier today against Shane. A bit too much draw on the cue ball. Cue ball close to the rail. It doesn't matter so much as that 2 ball got blocked by the 6.
The 1, the 3 and the 5 are in, but no shape on the 2.
Do you dare to share, Phil, what your gut feeling is regarding the favorite in the match?
I think this one is really tight. I think you have to say Woodward would be favourite for the second semi-final. This one, though, anyone's guess. What I will say, if Alcaide can replicate his performance of this afternoon against Shane van Boening, Eklent Kaçi will need to play out of his skin to have any opportunity to win whatsoever.
Now, Kaci considering if to play from here or give it back. The thing is, like the standard safety would be to send the 2 ball twice across and the cue ball back up table. But the 9 is big. The 9 is blocking. If he sees the 2 ball full enough, he can bank it out a couple of rails. Wow. Kaci didn't see that. We did not see that. But David did.
Come into my parlour, said the spider to the fly. What a trap that was undoubtedly laid by Alcaide. He must have realised there was a possibility of that.
Good strike. And the thing is, David Alcaide 2 years ago when he won it, he was cruising. He had a very good run for months and months together with his friend Ruiz. They were winning tournaments. But now he has made some different choices, taking it a bit easier, focusing a bit more, playing fewer tournaments. And it's paying off. He is very sharp.
I love the cheer. Every single rack when the 9 ball goes in after it's been potted by Alcaide. Listen to this. We're loving it. And so is David Alcaide. He leads 1-0.
Yeah, strong opening. He really ups his game if he's playing in front of friends and family. His fans, his people. Plays with a tremendous amount of heart, as when he won it 2 years ago. He was getting many rolls against him in that final against Shaw. But he came with it. He came with the shots.
Just to put into perspective what Alcaide is trying to achieve, if he were to lift the trophy tonight, he'd be only the 5th player to be a multiple winner of the World Pool Masters. Niels Svein, Shane van Boning, Thomas Engert, and the record 6-time winner, Ralph Souquet. He would join some exalted company there. As for Eklent Kaçi, he's trying to establish a record of his own. He's trying to become the youngest ever winner of this tournament by around 3 years, displacing Daryl Peach. Funny old rack the first, wasn't it, really, because I'm sure when Alcaide played that shot, it was in the back of his mind that he could play that unusual cross double, and when he was put back in, there was no hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's the thing that strikes me and that inspires me as a lover of the game, with how much conviction and commitment he approaches his shots. I'm thinking about that one ball that he made against Shane van Boning. For me, really the best shot of the championship. Second break for El Matador. Dry break. Kaci to the table. A big sigh for Alcaide. But at least that one ball can't be hit thin enough for a pot. If he cannot hit the left side of the one, the most obvious safety would be a stop shot or even a draw shot, banking the one towards the 6 to find hiding behind that 7. He's hitting the right side. He's playing a different type of safety. And there's worry, without a doubt, for everyone in the Kaci clan watching at home. Because the 1 is exposed, the cut on the 1 is on. But possibly a carom. Alcaide looking at it. Where will that 9 go if he hits the 1 thin? It looks to be going the 9 to the short rail, just before the pocket. If that, then he can manipulate the 9 by playing it with left spin. Left spin would throw that 9 a bit more to the right. Such a nice ball striker. And he really focused on making the 1 there.
Yes, initially as the 9 went towards the pocket, there were oohs and ahs, gasps. They're willing in every single ball here.
Oh, how good is he playing? I mean, you can play the shot good enough. 98 out of 100 times each of these top players, you know, would get the snooker. But he's sticking it to the 9. And Kaci looking at the 3-rail route. And he was looking if this 3-rail shot would open enough off of the 3rd rail, off of the long rail, to get to the 2. I don't think it's quite there, actually.
Kaci knows he's in deep here. In deep trouble.
So a lot of left-hand side to open the angle off of the third rail. Can't hit this too hard. Yeah, that's what I feared. That's what he feared. Because he played it as good as he could. Maximum spin and right before the corner. Maybe 10% softer. That could have done it.
Well, it was Alcaide's cross double on the 2 that effectively won the opening rack. It's his snooker on the 2 that should win the second rack.
Not intending on giving Kaci any air. He's playing like a champion. Straight enough on the 4. Now possibly that he'll play a big draw shot to get all the way to the other long rail where he stands to make sure he doesn't underhit it. Can smooth stroke it, gets to center table. I love the sound of these pockets.
Kaci looking glum, understandably.
He's looking like a pool player now, Kaci. At night, waiting for the bus. I don't know if I would sit next to him. Especially with that frowny look on his face. This is proper pool.
So focused, so motivated, and so well supported. The cheer will arise again. There it is. David Alcaide doubles his advantage. 2-0 and 1. European or American winner
David Alcaide to break.
has actually missed out on the Mosconi Cup.
Yeah, that's the quality nowadays, the past decade of European pool. It's so difficult to get on board. In the past, winning the 9-ball title at the European Championships would definitely be good enough. No more of that. a dry break in the second rack. We'll power it up, I expect. So 2 consecutive dry breaks from Alcaide, but on both occasions leaving nothing open for Kaci. Needs to play a defensive shot again. I like him banking the 1 towards the 5. In worst case scenario, he'll leave the 1 exposed. In not such an easy position for Alcaide. If he misses the 5 or glances off of it, he can manufacture a snooker.
Push out call.
Conservative. Patient. Tying up more balls in that area of the table.
Well, Kaci hoping his push out in the third rack will be just as successful as Alcaide's was in the first.
But the thing is, the only shot that is on, I think, is the shot that was on previously, but now it's laying more difficult. Well, the good thing that he did was making sure that that 1 ball got close to the short rail.
Had the cue ball avoided the bump of the middle pocket, more than likely Kaci would have been hooked.
I didn't particularly like that push out. What it does show us is that Kaci doesn't panic and that he's patient. But on that occasion, the clock wasn't patient. During the beep, time was running out. He underhit that stroke, de-accelerated.
Yes, learning how to manage the clock, which is a 30-second shot clock, by the way. Learning how to manage that is a real art in itself.
And crossing the table, does he find the gap? He does. Now looking if that 3-5 combination is there, if it's sitting nicely. I think he needs to play for that shot. Otherwise, with check side, off of the rail and speed to come back to where he is now. Oh, and he did just that. He's playing so positive. Okay, he didn't get there. He didn't get there, but not once does he shy away from playing the big shot.
Yes, and there's no hesitancy when it comes to the positivity he's showing. Determined and decisive.
Extension call.
He's looking if he has an angle on the 3 to get to the long rail. And he has. Not forcing the issue there, just giving distance. And a difficult cue ball.
You do. Extension call.
He's in a tight spot, Kaci, because if he'd hit the right side of the 3 ball, the cue ball can glance off of the 5 and scratch in the side pocket. For a moment, he looked at hitting the 3 into the rail behind the 8 to attack the 9. Things are not working out. But it started, for me, it's, you know, many shots have been played since then, but for me it started when he gave back, or when he played the push out. That's where he gave away initiative, and it has been overtaken by Alcaide.
Hampered queuing to a certain degree over the 9 here.
Check the cue ball, track towards the 7. Has to play this inch perfect. The 8-9 on the same rail. Something to consider for later. Now it's mainly about making that 5.
And the brown here is a nuisance. Lovely.
Now if he would be able to get the cue ball here, let's mark it down there, give him an angle to open that 8 ball. Because there's a lot of distance between the 8 and 9. It's a very difficult combination. Even more angle on that shot on the 7 would be good. And I was speaking about breaking up that 8 ball, but he doesn't need to actually, because there's enough room to land behind it.
Yes, the shot down the left-hand side rail, well within his capabilities, especially the way he's playing. Every shot is.
Oh, he's playing very good. Actually, I must confess that 2 years ago when he won this tournament and he was playing so good, I thought it was a one-off. Like that perfect day. But it's not that. He's playing like he was then. Maybe even better. Look at this. Look at this. Straight down the pipe. Never hitting the long rail.
This DA is laying down the law in this semi-final of the Dagobert World Pool Masters. David Alcaide loving it on home soil. Eklent Kaçi already in more than a spot of bother. 3-0. The first semi-final will continue shortly. Gibraltar.
Number 4,
what a venue
David
it's been
Alcaide.
for the
Break, leading,
World
3
Pool
runs.
Masters. The focus has been on this peninsula in southern Europe, and now the focus is on our opening semi-final. He's not the home boy, not quite. He's the next door neighbour, but he's doing well. David Alcaide from Spain, 3-0 up on Eklent Kaçi. And now with the opportunity to make it 4.
Yeah,
Remember,
good
the
break there.
semi-finals are the race to 8. A best of 15, so slightly lengthier than what we've seen before.
Oh. It's amazing how that goes. 2 dry breaks, safety battle, working hard, gaining initiative, winning the rack. Now a break, open shot on the 1, and he misses a sitter. 3 rails. Straightforward shot. But there is a difference between having a shot on the 2 and being straight in.
And David Alcaide knows all about 3-0 leads. This afternoon in the quarterfinals, he was 3-0 down to Shane Van Boening, who had broken run in 2 racks, was looking $1 million. And after that, Van Boening took on a carom that was questionable, and he never won another rack. Alcaide coming through 7-3.
Yeah, there was a kind of magic by David. Some strokes of genius. And this shot looked easier than it was. Cutting a ball to a blind pocket, not being able to punch it. It's a very uncomfortable way to deliver the shot.
I think, Alex, the moral of the Van Boening story this afternoon was that in these still relatively short races, you can't afford to give anyone any encouragement, and the missed 1 ball from Alcaide might turn things around.
15 minutes from now, it could be 3-all. Moves about here in the matchroom arena as if he's playing in this arena for 10 years. An old head on young shoulders when it comes to his pool playing.
That's exactly the phrase I was thinking about. He's very studious.
To the corner. Then no need to negate for the 8 ball. He's beaten Earl Strickland with clear figures. Jason Shaw, Alex Pagulayan. He won't be rolling over. He's gonna fight.
It was all about the 1 ball in the end. No one in this Tercentenary Hall was expecting him to miss it. Least of all, Eklent Kaçi. But the 1 did go astray. And from there, Kaci was able to put his first rack on the board. This is the 1 in question.
It just happens. I've played 2 finals in this event, and I remember in the second one where I lost against Ralph, I missed some easy shots. But I was playing good. I was playing so good that I just sort of distracted myself thinking about how easy it was and that it wasn't supposed to be that easy. So my brain solved that by missing an easy shot.
Lost in his thoughts, David Alcaide competing close to home, lots of support. Unlike Eklent Kaçi, who is from the town of Lac in Albania, which is close to the capital of that country, Tirana. Being at home is great when things are going well. Suddenly, if you start to miss, though, the pressure can become exponential.
Yeah, that's it. It's a multiplier. Playing in front of friends and family is great if you do well. It's horrible if you're playing below par. We've seen Alcaide breaking from the other side. He's switching. Oh, what a setup. What a setup. That will make David Alcaide think, I should have, I would have. It's going to cost him another wreck, I presume.
Sat there between racks, Alex, that he's a long way from home, Kaci. When you are that, one thing you might need is a roadmap, and here it is.
Three shots he has, the 1, 2 and 3, to find perfect position on his key shot, the 4. So 2 ways he can go. Leave a bit more angle on the 4 to play with topspin and left, go in between the 8 and 9 towards the long rail. But then if he overruns his mark, he'd have an angle to run into the 9. A little straighter. Let's look at the angle. A little straighter, then he can go to the long rail. With stun. Open a bit with left spin. Right there. These guys leave themselves angles. Use their stroke to manipulate the ball. 9 out of 10 times. The 10th, they'll power up. The line was always good, and that's his luck. But it does confirm for me that he's not totally in sync with the shot clock, because he pulled the trigger on the beep and he misjudged the speed. And again, under the gun. I think for 2 reasons: his debut in the semi-final and the blitz start from Alcaide in the opening of this match.
Extension call.
Some players would try and make the 7 and just leave a bank on the 8. The bank from there would be very makeable. In so doing, he's dividing the pressure over 2 shots. Don't slow roll this. Slow rolling is tricky. Makes that ball very reactive. You need to be super precise on the cue ball. For position, he played it like this, but I really am convinced that had he played it with stun and more speed, letting the cue ball loose somewhat, that he would have made it.
The 8 ball went narrow. It caught the near jaw. It's a sitter.
Extension call.
He doesn't have the exact angle to roll the cue ball to the short rail and come back. If not that, then stun to the short rail with the right spin to come back where he's now. As a right-hander, I think hitting the cue ball a bit lower, coming to the right side of the table, would have helped him. Still good, still favorite to make the 9. Low on the cue ball.
Eklent Kaçi's misjudged bank on the 8 ball has proved costly. David Alcaide back in the groove, back 3 in front, And leading 4-1, that means he's halfway to a third appearance in the final of the Dapperbet World Pool Masters.
Yeah, sometimes the player gets caught by the shot clock. Doesn't matter how experienced they are. I've seen it. With top players, with world champions. They get caught by the pressure and then they lose their feeling for the time that they're consuming for a shot. I think that's the main cause of the mistakes by Kaci.
It's all about finding that balance, that rhythm. Not being too quick, not being impatient and playing shots too swiftly for your own good. But on the other hand, it's a death knell if you become too methodical, and every time you get down, those beeps are going off.
Well, the advice that I give a player, if they are aware of not being in sync with the clock, that when they are in an easy position, to just wait. To just wait, look at the clock, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and then get ready to play it, to really experience the sea of time that often is available.
Leading 4 racks to 1.
I think one of the problems when the stakes increase, some players become a little more ponderous, and then the restriction of the 30-second shot clock really bites.
Alcaide, a stubborn man. He's not had the best results from that side of the table. Kaci's result was better. But then again, if you're winning, why change? And he has guessed right. An unforced error in open play by Kaci. Cost him the rack and might cost him just another one. Ooh, Alcaide. Hit that ball thick. And even with a clean pot, I think he'd still have come out way short on the 3. Needed to be straight.
Extension call.
So the biggest opening would be, oh, excuse me, would be here. But it's not an easy shot. He's found a better one. He's found a stroke that he liked. It was a very narrow passage, but it just felt right for him. It was a very nice recovery shot. Often that recovery shot after a flawed position builds more confidence than just flawless play.
And the way he's played for the vast majority of the match brings into sharp focus the missed 1 ball in rack 4. That was out of nowhere. And it just puts a little bit of lingering doubt in the mind. As to whether another error will be made, and there it is. There it is.
Concentration. It looked actually, Phil, as if he was going to play a draw shot in between the 8 and 9. But I was thinking, is the angle not too big? it's not improbable that at the last instant he decided to go forward.
Extension call.
Simple shots missed by players of his caliber, often a result of indecision. Not being committed to the speed and tip position that they needed to play it with. 3 rails. What a let off for Alcaide. Mark that one down, Phil.
The reason I was saying what I did say on that 6-ball, don't know what it was, just something illogical, but I had the feeling he wasn't quite as in tune as he had been early in the match. But for Eklent Kaçi, all donations gratefully accepted.
Imagine that. 4-2 instead of 5-1. And even being down 2 racks, he'll be feeling a lot better than David. You're losing, but you're winning.
David Alcaide has been really good in this match so far, apart from 2 shots that no one can quite believe went astray. A 1-ball in the 4th rack, a 6-ball there. Eklent Kaçi is only 2 behind. The score is 4-2. Anything can happen from here on in. Stick with us after the break. The first semi-final of the Dafabet Whirlpool Masters is well advanced, and you have to say Alex Lely, rack 6 was all about a missed 6-ball.
Could well prove to be a pivotal moment, this. David Alcaide missing an easy 6-ball, maybe due to indecision, lack of concentration or over-concentration. He's trying to give it everything he has and has dominated the match for the first 30 minutes. But then the missed 1-ball, the missed 6-ball, helping Clenty back into this match. Very thin cut, and if he wants to have a chance to get to that 2-ball, he would need to use a lot of spin. He's not attacking. Keeping it simple. Showing a lot of patience in his shot selection. Eklent Kaçi. We see here that there's enough space, enough passage for that cue ball. But not enough future for David Alcaide. He'd be constricted to just passing through. And then I think sending that 1 towards the 4. Don't know what he tried to do, but at least he hasn't left an open shot. It's a bit quiet now out there, Phil. Everyone in Camp David is feeling it.
I think the 2 simple balls missed have planted not just a seed of doubt in Alcaide's mind, but in the minds of his followers as he's locked down by Kaci there. Big target to get behind, in fairness, 3 balls.
And an easy target, that 1 ball for Alcaide. Now, I don't rely strongly on my jump shot. But the jump here would be easy to judge a half ball hit on the 1. This one is more difficult to control. But the thing is, with that 2 ball tied up to the 7, leaving that 1 ball open might not prove to be costly. Still needs to do a lot of good pool playing, Kaci. Just like David Alcaide needed to work hard building that lead in the opening half hour, Kaci needs to work hard. He was looking at the room
Extension
past
call.
the 7, past the 4. Maybe a bank, maybe a combination. It's very tight. If he doesn't like it, he can thin the 2 ball. With side spin, bring the cue ball towards the 6. He's not playing that. Offense and defense in 1 shot.
At stake this evening, prestige, golden memories, implications for other tournaments and the entry into those, and plenty of cash. $25,000 to the winner of the World Pool Masters. High stakes indeed. And that's why you just get the feeling with every passing rack, it's becoming more and more edgy. $25,000 to the champion, $13,000 for the runner-up. So if you make the final, it's a hefty payday.
Too thick. Hasn't left anything easy. But that cue ball, a good 2 diamonds, too far away from the short rail to apply some proper pressure. Misjudged that. Needed more cut on the 2, and then with check side, try to get behind it 4-7. Race to 8, a long way to go, but it's a tangible tension here in Tercentenary Hall because the momentum in the match, the initiative is up for grabs. Alcaide has sort of given it away by missing that 6 ball.
You're absolutely right, Alex. He's given it away on not 1 but 2 occasions. 2 glaring mistakes.
This was absolutely not how Kaci envisioned the safety off of the 2. He played it with a lot of speed and actually got lucky to hit the 2 ball so thin. A get out of the inning shot, a containing shot. Trying to not lose more than trying to win. Very thin, very soft. Try and come past the 8. Needs legs. One rotation further and it would have been a hell of a safety. Oh, whoa, 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 Alcaide. Makes it look very good. Little harder, little softer. And he would lose the rack. Could have lost the rack. Very dangerous bringing that object ball so close to the corner pocket.
Reminiscent maybe of the second rack in which Alcaide played a snooker on the 2 and got a big dividend. This time, not so.
Oh, there you are.
The clock almost caught him out. And then, having rushed the shot, what a slice of fortune.
All instinct, Kaci on that stroke. No time for reflections, no time for method. One stroked it. Winged it. Now, at first glance, I'd say there's no future in attacking the 2 with the 4 ball up table. But then again, is there an alternative? Is there a playable safety? Attacking the 2, collision with the 9 could bring the cue ball over. Funny old game this. Still up for grabs, the initiative. He can roll softly the 2 ball into the short rail and land on the 7. Or if he wants to make sure to give Kaci distance, hit the 2 into the 7. Huh? What a beautiful shot there. You see how on both occasions with Kaci and with Alcaide, in the beep, because of the shot clock, they go on instinct. And they played 2 great shots.
Foul.
Now you see there, I think the shot clock spooked him. He'd actually got 10, 11 seconds left, but he played it very hastily.
So ball in hand for David Alcaide. The 8 ball is tied up with the 9. So what he can play for, if it's tied up, he's now looking at it. Let's say it doesn't go directly, the 8, what he can play for is try and set it up, a straight in shot on the 6, to make the 6 off of the 8 ball. Once he gets to the 6 and he doesn't like his angle on the 6, he can still decide to first go back to the 7. So 2 straight on the 5. Will be difficult to get position for a kiss shot with the 6-8. think it's makeable, the 8. Depends on his angle on the 6, if he likes it, hitting into the 8. Yeah, sure. He's a very good 8-ball player, David Alcaide is, and an 8-ball, that type of shot comes up a lot. Never a doubt.
That was like picking a lock.
Really, the shot that he played, the snooker, where he got the ball in hand from, where did that come from? Straight in. I like how he plays his draw shots. He doesn't hit very low on the cue ball. Not a smooth draw shot. He stuns it a bit more and hits it with a lot of authority.
The cheers are back. They resound around the Tercentenary Hall because David Alcaide takes one more step towards the final. He now leads Eklent Kaçi by 5 racks to 2, and those 2 mistakes, one in rack 4, one in rack 6, have only cost him the 2 racks.
Now this shot, where did that come from? That's an F and Reyes. And as you said, Phil, he rushed a bit, Kaci, in preparing that kick shot. He had time on the clock left. But really, the safety, the snooker, that set Alcaide up. Beautiful shot.
The crowd are living every ball with David Alcaide. It's great to see. Still fresh in our minds, his victory here in 2017. Last year, well, it was a first-round exit he lost to our colleague, Carl Boys. This year, though, it's back to how it was in 2017. Already conquered by David Alcaide. There's Shane van Boning. He was 3-0 up and then lost the next 7 racks. Alcaide in that
8,
match was inspirational.
David Alcaide to break, leading 5 racks to 2.
He picked it up in this semi-final where he left it off against SVB in the opening racks. 2 glaring mistakes though. On the 1s6, a scare, a short surge from Kaci thereafter, but now back in control. Breaking in the 8th, hitting only 3. Tiki-tak.
A break he will be more than satisfied with. It was a fortnight ago today, you know, that he won the Spanish Cup up in Madrid. He's a regular winner of events in his home nation.
I was laughing because this time on this one he was really preparing well, looking at the potting angle. In the back of his head, surely they missed 1 ball a couple of racks ago in a similar position. Don't lose the cue ball, stay on the lower side of the 3. Like that.
From Alcaide's perspective, this is a glorious layout. It really is.
looks like he has a slight angle towards the long rail. It's not easy to stun it out from there into the rail and out.
Extension
Drawing
ball.
back will get that cue ball too much towards the 7. So he's going forward 2 rails. Will find space in so doing. Claro que sí, werd er gezegd. Was said in the crowd. Meaning something like, of course you do. Punch it. Big stroke.
One of the manifestations of pressure in cue sports is that your brain starts to play tricks and creates problems when they don't exist. This should be rudimentary.
Should be. But assumption is the mother of all failure. Like how he uses the weight of the ball whenever he can. For a break and run.
It's really amusing. Deathly silence, and then as soon as that 9 ball hits the back of the pocket, they explode. And the reason being, the vast majority are not in support of that man. They're in support of David Alcaide, who has a 6-2 advantage now, getting ever closer to the goal of making the final of this Dapperbet World Pool Masters for the 2nd time in 3 years and for the 3rd time in total. And this was just what he wanted. The little nudge on the 1 that opened everything up. The run out was efficient. I think it's fair to say, Alex, that when we started this tournament, yes, people respected David Alcaide. They knew about his career CV, but he wouldn't be regarded as one of the big favourites, and yet he certainly looked that way.
Yeah, reminiscent of his form 2 years ago. Very good, very focused, playing with a lot of heart. Now Kaci, 6-2 down. As long as your opponent doesn't get to the hill, as long as he needs 2 racks,
6 racks to 2.
you have a fighting chance. You always have a fighting chance until the last ball is dropped. But it makes a big difference. I've seen in races to 9 many comebacks from 7-2 down for the player to win 9-8. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh. All in hand.
Well, that's a double whammy for David Alcaide, not just scratching, but look at the remaining balls on the table, begging Eklent Kaçi to pop them.
Yeah, nice layout for Kaci to reassert himself, to establish a bit of rhythm.
And that's the tightrope you walk. We saw it. The cue ball just sideswiped by the 3.
Yeah, in the previous rack, the cue ball got kissed 3 times to set Alcaide up perfectly on the 1 ball. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes not. Took a lot of time, Kaci, preparing the route from the 1 to the 2. It hasn't helped him. Didn't get to the intended spot. Now a slight angle allows him to draw into the 9. An easy shot and not. Slight angle on the 6. I've seen people miscue this type of shot if they try and play a soft draw shot. And therefore, there was this hesitance. He gave it another thought. Played the stun, and that's what I said about Alcaide. I like how he uses the weight of the ball many times. And by that I mean that he stays, if he can, close to the center of the cue ball. So he's staying in the race, Eklent Kaçi.
Yes, and the upper pantheon of pool. If you scratch, it's a massive headache. Eklent Kaçi showing stickability. Getting back to trailing only 6-3. He's won his 3 racks in isolation. Now he needs to put some sustained racks on the board and really crank up the pressure on David Alcaide. So 6-3 here at the Tercentenary Hall in Gibraltar. Plenty more pool to come in this first semi-final of the Dapperbet World Pool Masters. Gibraltar is home to around 30,000 people.
Number 10, Eklent Kaçi.
It's also the
Break,
workplace
trailing
of
6 racks to 3.
quite a few Spaniards, and quite a few Spaniards have come across the border today to see David Alcaide, cheering him on in this Dapperbet World Pool Masters. He's 2 racks away from the final, but it's Eklent Kaçi to break off in the 10th rack, trailing 6-3.
Can't do nothing, Phil, when you're in the chair. But he'll be back to the table real quick now, Alcaide. Shake of the head by Kaci. The young, ambitious, clean-cut Albanian ace who's taken the pool world by storm. Before him, Filler, was making ground, and I teach pool, and many players then were only trying to emulate Joshua Filler. The speedy approach. And Kaci, with this more methodical approach, more clean cut, more precise, shows that there are more ways to get to Rome.
Did you say Rome there?
Rome. Well, it's a saying in Dutch. Is it a saying in English as well?
No, I was just thinking because the first ever description of Gibraltar was written by a Roman, a geographer, Pomponius Mela, around the 45 AD mark.
Pomponius. Oh. That's a good shot. Nine ball blocks the path to the side pocket. So what's a nice safety? The first thing I'd look at is, okay, how can I protect the 2-ball? And he can play the 2 past the 9. Guarantee the 2-ball in the middle of the short rail, and then maybe snooker behind. Ooh. Snooker behind the 6, I wanted to say. Well, he attacked the 9-ball as a shot to nothing. Very aggressive choice of shot there. Be reminded that an aggressive choice of shot by Shane, leading 3-0, started David Alcaide's comeback. Oh la la! Oh. Man. Oh man, I love it if someone out there is just playing with so much heart.
He absolutely pinged that, didn't he? Ooh, and then the green 6-ball just about crept in, asking for the white to be clean, so maybe he got a skid. That would follow, really, because he did go rather thick into the pocket. And you saw there when he took a drink of water, he is shaking, he's feeling it.
Vivian Roscoe cleaning the ball. David getting ready to finish in style. He got lucky attacking that 9-ball, fluking the 2, but that 3-ball. That 3-ball against Shane, he spared a 1-ball in with the cue ball on the rail. That made the short list. Now we can add that cut shot on the 3.
It's a terrible generalization that's used an awful lot. They say, don't they, fortune favors the brave. Well, the 3-ball was certainly brave, and it was certainly struck as sweetly as anyone possibly can. And that opened up the whole rack, and now suddenly David Alcaide, the darling of this Tercentenary Hall crowd, finds himself on the verge of victory. He is leading Eklent Kaçi 7-3. One more rack needed, and he will progress to the final of the Dafabet World Pool Masters. What an eventful rack we've just seen.
Lucky on that shot. Pure skill on the 3-ball. Forcing his way to the hill. The long cut on the 1, the lucky shot on the 2. A tremendous skill and guts on the 3-ball. He's on the hill, David Alcaide. Needing one more rack to go through as the first player to the final.
Not been really stretched yet in this tournament. He won his first match against his good pal, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, 7-3. Then he defeated the defending champion, Niels Feijen, 7-3. This afternoon in the quarterfinals, it was Shane van Beuning who fell by the same score. Now it's 7-3 here, but one more needed. It's party time, almost.
Claro que sí. David Alcaide is playing so good. He wants it. And he's not shying away from the big shots.
David Alcaide to break, leading 7 racks.
Not now, not at the start of the match. Playing like a champion. Now serving for the match. Can he keep Kaci away from the table? Good fortune and good shots goes hand in hand. The table often knows who's playing the better pool.
Everyone was holding their breath here as the balls went around the table. For a moment it looked as though it might be a dry break. But the 3-ball dropped in, came to Alcaide's rescue.
Needs to cut it. Needs to play it with a trace of right spin. Go in between the 2 and 6. And needs to play it soft. It's there. He can play it, but it's tricky. Needs to play it with pocket speed. Nice little bump with the 6. And this shot is easier. No spin needed when cutting the 2-ball in. Room for the cue ball to travel back and forth. Ooh, thick. Does he have it? Still not clear for us nor for David. He's aligning as if he's attacking the shot.
Extension called.
You said, Phil, pressure can play tricks with your brain. Perceiving clearly can become difficult.
Well, from the shot we've just seen, you have to seriously doubt whether there's enough of this 4-ball to hit.
Can manipulate it with a bit of right spin. The cut on the 2-ball was thick. It dropped, but it altered the intended deflection of the cue ball. I can see him cutting the 4 in, but then it looks like the cue ball would travel at warp speed towards the corner pocket.
Extension called.
No, that's unfortunate. Very good. Well, unfortunate, I say. But if he can pass the 6, he can cut the 5. And he can't. Goes out to get the jump cue. It was a gutsy attempt to cut the 4 and hold the cue ball like that.
David Alcaide, come on down.
Sort of feel for him. He played such a good tournament. Looked and was the better player against Earl, against Shaw, and against Peggy Lyon. But just fell a bit too short today against David in the semis.
You're right to point that out, Alex. He's beaten 3 giants of the sport in this tournament as Eklent Kaçi, but in this venue, David Alcaide is some animal.
Yeah, he's come with the shots. You could make a highlight tape just of his shot making in this tournament. Big strokes. Two easy shots. And he's there.
Meatloaf famously sang 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 out of 3 Whirlpool Masters finals in 3 years for David Alcaide is now official. What a performance. The crowd are totally engaged. They're loving this. He delivers again. David delivers. Fantastic stuff. Now it's just a matter of who he will play for this prestigious title. Will it be Alexander Kazakis or Skylar Woodward? We'll find out shortly. What we know now is that David Alcaide has beaten Eklent Kaçi by 8 racks to 3.
We have our first finalist of the Dafabet World Pool Masters. He's had an incredibly difficult run to the final, but David Alcaide is through, having just seen off Eklent Kaçi. So there's a confirmation that David Alcaide is through to the final, and he will face either Alexander Kazakis or Skylar Woodward, whose match gets underway in just a moment. But before that, we want to speak to the man of the moment, David Alcaide, who's alongside me now. David, congratulations. You played very, very well. But for the first time in this tournament, I thought you looked a little bit nervous. Were you?
No, literally. I have a lot. No, very normal. Semi-final, the pressure is too much. But I try don't lose my focus. But I missed 2, not easy, but normally ball. But later I have lucky 1 combo, 2 to 9. I make the 2. Later I make really good shot, 3 ball. But okay, this is the 9 ball.
So what do you do now then? You've got a little bit of time until the final. Do you go straight up and practice, or do you rest?
No, relax. I need to relax, go to drink 1 water or whatever, but try not think too much in the final.
Well, you are into the final. Congratulations. So it's David Alcaide against either Alexander Kazakis or Skylar Woodward, whose match is next.